وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ثم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Forgive me for arriving late, and I also ask to be forgiven for walking right in the middle of the gathering and disrupting the gathering. But in all seriousness, it is very difficult to speak to such a lofty assembly. I am honored to be in the presence of my teachers, my mentors, my role models. And if it weren't for the fact that Hamza, Sheikh Hamza, my classmate, had asked me to speak, I would be shy to speak to an august assembly such as this one. But as one of my teachers would tell me, sometimes you can find in the creek things that you don't find in the ocean. Okay. There are oceans that are present and puddles that are also present. But we hope that those puddles are able to add some benefit to this gathering. I want to start by recognizing these huffaz, these young men that have memorized or completed the memorization of the Holy Quran. And I want to express great admiration, great commendation for their achievement and for the achievement and foresight of their families. Whenever God honors you by conferring a blessing upon you, it is not appropriate that you say, look at me, look at what I've done, I'm something. There's a term in Arabic, a shakhsul isami, which means a self-made man. My teachers would tell us, belief in the self-made man is the acme of spiritual immaturity. There is no self-made man. All of us are indebted deeply to our families, our teachers, our classmates. So first thing I would say, carry the responsibility and the weight of the Quran with dignity and with graciousness. But it is also not suitable when God confers a blessing upon you to say, I'm nothing. Right? Sometimes this is our first genuflect, and we think that being self-deprecating is the same as being humble. Self-deprecation is not humility. Just say Allah. Don't say I'm something, but don't say I'm nothing. Just say Allah. You are a tableau. You are a blank slate upon which God has inscribed His blessing. فَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. As for the blessing of your Lord, proclaim it. So you should feel honored, but you should also feel tasked with great responsibility. You know, our teachers, I was in a madrasa, and I went to a kutab, a school for hifz for 2.5 years, but it wasn't as nearly, and I love my teachers, but my experience had a lot spicier food, and a lot less cultural relevance. But those were my teachers. Those were the people from whom I learned the book of Allah. And they would always say that humility, tawadu', always accompanies knowledge. Anyone that you see becoming boastful, self-congratulatory, something in their knowledge is deficient. Right? So carry the weight of the Quran with graciousness and carry the weight of the Quran with a sense of responsibility. And then I would say that for me, witnessing what we're witnessing here today is, I'm hoping, the beginning of what becomes a precedent in our community. That our best and brightest are given to the study of deen. You know, I lived in Cairo, Egypt for 5 years. And it was an experience, man. I went to Azhar with Hamza. And some days, when I wanted just to experience home, I would go 2 places. Either I would go to the American Embassy, and I had no business with the consulate, no business with the embassy. I would just take a number and sit down. Just to witness that clean Western bureaucracy. Wow, people standing in line, take a number and wait to be served. They would call my number. What do you need? Nothing. I just wanted to see this. The other place that I would go is I would go to AUC when it was in Meydan Tahrir. I would go to American University in Cairo, go into the bookstore, just sit there and hang out. And one day, I was happened upon by a student there, and she just struck up a conversation. And 5 minutes into the conversation, she said, I just want you to know, the American accent, because she was speaking English, you really have it down. I said, that would probably be because I'm American. She said, and you're a student at AUC? I said, no, I'm a student at Azhar. She said, and I asked her for Allah. She apologized to me. And I said, no. I was a student in the US at Columbia. I left school. I came here because I wanted to study Islam. She said, really? Because in our country, only the students with the lowest scores on the exit exams go into Ulum ad-Din. The top scores go into medicine. Then engineering, then something else. The least motivated students, the students with the dimmest prospects, go into Ulum ad-Din. I never felt small in all my life. I'm here because I want to be. And I said, I'm happy to report to you that in America, our tradition is different than that. We give our best, we give our brightest, we give our most intelligent, our most promising to the study of deen. And this is what we are witnessing today.
Takbir.
And you know, Hamza only gave me 10 minutes. And Hamza knows that's Hamza, 10 minutes, huh? But lastly, I'll say that many demographers have said that where we are now, we are reaching what one would call a first effective settlement in terms of Islam in America. That the way our community looks now is the way that it's going to look for the foreseeable future. And that this for us is an axial age. The norms that we establish now are going to be determinative of what the norm is in our community going forward. The traditions that we establish now are going to be determinative of what traditions our community will uphold for the foreseeable future. What better investment can there be than investment in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We know that indigenization of Islam, all the places Islam spread throughout the world, follows the study of the Quran. That when places begin to produce their own huffaz, and they're not relying on the people who conveyed Islam to them for a connection to the Quran, then Islam begins to flourish. Then Islam begins to spread. To look at these young men, many of them, they could be my own cousins, younger brothers. Certainly guys off my block, especially you. Especially you. And to know that these are people that have committed the Quran to memory, I am very hopeful about what this means for our community going forward. So this is a day of celebration. This is a day of community This is a day of family. I hope that all of us see the work that Mi'raj is doing in its brightest evidence, and that we decide to become supporters of that work. There is no more beneficial effort that we could be giving to than this effort. Cultivating and preserving the Book of Allah and setting the course for the American Muslim community. Thank you.